Hey, what's good? So, different location, different country, different lighting and audio setup, so bear with me. Now, if you're not following me on Twitter, yesterday my Galaxy Z Fold 5 broke for something I didn't even cause, and today it completely stopped working altogether. And I want to give the full rundown on the full story and a couple of my thoughts at the end. Stick with me. So I'm in Germany right now, and usually I live in the US, but I'm here for a tech event. Regardless, yesterday we had a rain event, and as soon as it started raining, I put my Galaxy Fold in my rain pocket, in my jacket, as I always do, even if it rains in the US. Cool. However, being a tourist in a new country, I use Google Maps and Uber to get around. So I keep it in the waistband and the rain jacket on my pocket so minimal rain gets on it because I know it's a foldable phone is more fragile, so I try to keep that in mind. However, no matter how careful you are, still some drops of rain gets on the device as like it does on the watch, which is fine, I guess. So I started to wipe it down on my shirt, blowing out some of the water off the screen, thinking that the water got cleared off the screen, there were no accidental touches, the phone was dry, everything's good. When I got to my destination, 15 minutes later, I noticed that the front camera started fogging. And that's bad in itself. And I noticed that the camera feed was like it was smudgy with fingerprints. And even though it wasn't, it was perfectly clean. It was obvious that the water definitely got inside, and Face Unlock did not work from there on. From then on, I only noticed the condensation in the camera lens. However, the screen started working fine. Then 3, 4, 5 hours later, as I was walking around the tech event venue, I realized that the screen is starting to get dim a little and then jump back up and then get a little dim and then jump back up. The touch wasn't as responsive and that it was starting to get a bit of ghost touches as if like someone is swiping on the screen, even though I'm the only one that uses it. And when I didn't touch it, it was touching the screen by itself. Now, being in a different place with no resources, I kind of had to bite the bullet. I put it in my pocket and continued using my S23 Plus, which I'm recording on right now. The night that I got to my hotel room, I noticed that the phone is starting to get a little bit hot. The battery is starting to drain more, and the screen is starting to get worse and worse to the point that green flashes are being apparent on the screen, and it's just going up and down with different parts of the screen having different colors. So that night, which was last night, I just turned it off completely, didn't even think about it. I took out a paperclip, put this in from this into my S23, and used this as my daily driver. Fast forward to today, I tried to turn it on and everything seemed to be fine. I made a couple of Samsung Pay payments with it. It went fine. The camera condensation went away. I thought everything's good. It's okay, nothing's wrong. Boy, was I mistaken. So I went to this attraction near the venue. It's a little bit far, but still pretty near. And I had the Galaxy Fold in my pocket, and I'm using this as my daily driver, right? So then I noticed something hot being on my leg. I'm like, what is going on? And I took out the phone, and it is scorching hot. I cannot describe how hot and warm this thing was. My hypothesis is that somehow the battery is thinking it's being used a lot, so it's draining a lot of resources. The temperature went up, and from then on, the screen did not turn on at all. Now, I could feel internally that it was on since the battery was drawing power and it was feeding other components, but the display itself is not showing any signs of life. Now, what's interesting is that yesterday and last night, the main inside display was working fine, but the cover display was having the green flashes. But now, if you open the phone, there's no signs of life on the main display, but there is some signs of life on the cover display, which is counterintuitive. So, when I try to plug it back in, it does register that it is receiving charge, but the battery indicator of it gaining extra charge is not showing up at all. In fact, when you put it in charge, it starts the boot loop. And yeah, that's a story of how this thing broke from 5, 6, 7 drops of water on the display. And I did this and it completely died. Which brings me to my thoughts and my disappointment with this. Now, to be clear, I'm not that mad or disappointed. Well, I am mad. I am disappointed, but I'm not mad that this broke. I'm disappointed that it broke because it's rated for an IPX8 dust and water resistance. And the X means that it's not rated for dust, but the 8 means it could be submerged in water for 30 minutes. But this thing barely lasted 30 seconds and now it doesn't turn on at all. So to me, if a phone that does not last barely a minute underwater, but yet is rated to be claimed to be used underwater for half an hour, that's kind of false advertising. Now I know I probably got unlucky on some other foldables and people who use them. They take it in the shower, the pool, it works fine. Cool story. But for me, I cannot trust claims of these phones whatsoever, especially when they say it can be, but this is prime example that it can't. Now, and I didn't even cause the damage to begin with, so I'm not mad at myself. I'm mad at the phone for not being able to handle such a simple thing. Because remember, this was a $2,000 phone, and we're in 2024. I don't care what price your phone is. I don't care what phone you have. Any phone in 2024 should be able to resist rain at the base minimum of durability and protection. And with the claims that this company goes to make about, oh, it's so durable, you can use it underwater, and the screen it can open and close 200,000 times. Cool story. It broke under 30 seconds, so what's up with that? So yeah, I'm just disappointed. I'm taking it back to the US tomorrow. I hope Samsung doesn't charge me for something I didn't cause, and if they do, I will dispute it and challenge it as much as I can because I refuse to pay for something I didn't cause. If you're making claims that this is durable against water, then you should follow through and helping the customer for something that you made and you made a faulty phone for it. If I dropped it and there was a crack or something and water got in, yeah, that would be my fault. But this phone is in pristine condition and it got completely killed by water in a new condition. And shout out to the hotel receptionist for having a paperclip to switch SIM cards. Real epic. So yeah, this is basically how this phone died, and I don't know what phone I'm going to after this. Maybe I'm trying iPhone 16. If they repair it, I will continue using this. If they are not able to repair it, maybe I'll go to Fold 6. But I kind of refuse to get an S24 Ultra because we're like 3 months away from the new one. So we'll see. Thanks for sticking around. I'll keep you updated. Cheers.